It is not unlikely that you have a day where all of these plane maps are really awkward towards the side of the map or not allowing you to swing far to this day. On the players and the teams and where they're dropping, but it is
guys, trick reads where hunting
is the best place to be when it comes to experimentation. As we head into our match number 3 of the day, is Erangel. We're going to have one more Erangel after this one, followed by 2 Miramars over on those dusty dunes, and a few reflections, as well as John taking you through that one. But for now, let's get right into this third match. And look at that play back. Yes.
far more central, mate. This is what we were hoping for. Obviously, last time around threw us off a little bit with some of the hot drops we were expecting, and some of the rotates we were seeing. The secondary drops we called out. Things should be a little bit more cleanly cut here, and we'll see if there is overlap. In a weird way, again, it does actually kind of scare me if we do see power going for the potential play that we could expect here with a hard drop. We'll see, mate. We'll see.
Hey, straight back down towards Milton, but influence range is going a little bit further here, so power should be able to hold this. That feels bad. Yeah, but influence range is not going back towards power despite just demolishing him in it, so it's kind of like a pity play that you've been sent your way. I am curious if
রেত এখন চালু করলো हुआ हाँ अब वो जो पानी ही नहीं है
By the fact again, actually, we do get sort of the distance there from Team Secret. We do seem to be playing this far slower wick of the game. Let it burn late into the night. You know, don't want that one to burn quickly. Yeah. Although I will say the problem was the minute they were actually throwing a bit of a broader sword, it was panic stations. That's where it went wrong.
Well, there was no parries. There was absolutely no parries involved there at all. And even the dodge roll looks sluggish outside of Team Secret. Heading on towards the bunker as well, I do have something to say about the bunker is that although decent position, it's right. You do actually see a lot of pro teams these days, like moving away from the bunker as a spot. If you get somewhere further in towards the circle and completely play towards that, you take that. Even if that means holding up towards the west or eastern side of your stand, that's fine. But yeah, we'll see how teams play this now. It is a pretty packed map already.
Yeah, they're going to everything.
Team Secret, after seeing that, playing in the bunker means you have this.
আমি যাকে দেবো চাবিটা আছে নাকি নাই
Just to get towards the initial circles, and those initial circles arm over towards the southwest side. He cuts a lot of in, which is a bit of an awkward one, where you're not sure if we'd be heading across or not. It would be cool to see a Sosnovka this early into the tournament, though, Jackie.
আছে
It'd be fun, man. It'd be nice if we actually do get it thrown into the mix.
এদিকের লাইনটা নিয়ে দাও না এর কাঁচের রুমের সব এই এটা কালি রুমটা না
backline of the DRX late. But anyway, we'll focus up with what's happening here. You've initially got the POV Alpha 7. Alpha 7, for those who are tuning in, of course, I'm sure you're aware, they are currently the crown holders, the kings themselves, who took the trophy last year in a relatively fair, some incredible plays, back-to-back games where they were popping off. And really, it was a bit of a nail-biter towards the end of last year. Like, you know, you think it's a urban reject, like, who's going to take it, which range is going to show up. Coming into this one, I was a bit worried with the result of the first game. Glad to see a massive show up, even with it just being a duo that had to get so much done. Some diligent PUBG Mobile showed from the previous outing. How's the rest of the day going to go? Will Neptura's hot take become a reality? A back-to-back chicken dinner for them. Instantly be the landslide environment. It is happening like that's the height you want on a day. I think
they're
very much like an avalanche in that respect. It's hard to deal with that. And if you're not careful, you are going to get covered, buried underneath the snow. Alpha 7 is going to bring it down upon you. So I think that for Alpha 7 getting that win there, especially where it mends that relationship between Cleo and Rebel very early on, that's going to be do you think for Alpha 7 this game could easily be a good one?
No, even though she was smirking while she said it, the point does really ring true and could certainly have a lot of credence. And you're right, bro, you know, not cutting the cheese with the chalk. I think absolutely it's one of those when you would have been fuming with each other had you gone down at the back of that game with those players as well, right? Instead, you want it, and like you say, struggling like everyone's having a good time, the boys are back in town. DRX, they were in town for a second there, but one of them has instantly been shut down. In Falcons that have spotted a weakened target, solo and isolated. Blessing from that, you do grab another vehicle off the back and get the 1 point.
Yeah, unfortunately, DRX went to town. You know, it's like boys' night out. You're going to lose one of them eventually.
Where's he gone?
Find him at home later.
So I actually never came out. I was at home the whole time. Sorry, guys. Stayed in the plane.
The DRX down to just 3 plays there. They had a good start to the day, but if you look at that, 19 points, that's all points they earned there on Saturday.
True.
They earned nothing on that last game, and I think that for Arundel, it's a very important map to be able to perform on, so I'm very unhappy to see them go to Arundel with nothing to show for it. The Falcons, though, we were talking about earlier, you were talking about being the hot hand. I like what the Falcons are doing. I do worry a lot of times about the Falcons in terms of their massive gameplay. I think that there are definitely moments where I think Redogs and Narmallow certainly need to take a leaf out of Coa's book and just be a bit more aggressive. And it's funny that one of those passive players on this team, historically at least, Ralph is one of the players who I think has been the most influenced by Coa's gameplay. So yeah, I think that that's what I'd like to see from that team, especially here where they have the ability to experiment a lot. But it's nice to see them having just continued success.
Yeah. It's hard as well because it's a double-edged sword when you have such a really infused fan base like Falcons do, especially when we're here, right? Like we're in Riyadh, we're in Saudi Arabia, and you can see the excitement that's going on. Everyone's cheering after they get an eagle, after they make a play. Yeah, that goes both ways. If suddenly everyone goes quiet, you notice it, and you know it's for you four alone.
Dude, even in PMSL EU over towards Turkey side, right? When they were playing there, they looked stressed on their bad games.
All eyes on you, bro.
They look stressed on their good games. And I think that there is a lot riding. There's a lot riding on here. I think personally, if they can at least get to the top 8 after this group stage, I think they'll feel so much more comfortable. Just going straight through to the finals there, I'm not having to deal with it. That will be the ideal scenario.
I mean, even if you think about just the fact we were saying, like, oh, everyone is literally forced to stare at Alpha 7 on a pedestal, on a plinth, literally in the arena. They were called out by name. They were there. Everyone else sees Falcons as well, separated from the rest of the squad. It makes you kind of animosity of, we should take them down. We should make sure, that extra oomph from the other teams where some people thrive on that. Those little elements come into your mental game. It affects how you play PUBG Mobile. Suddenly it starts to change a little bit. You see those targeted fights. It gets spicy. This is more of a story we'll develop over the course of the event. We'll see how that starts to ebb and flow. But it's just something to have in the back of your minds for the viewers at home. Weibo, I think it's been, I'd say, nice, at least in terms of the way they have been playing to their strengths. They've had some really crazy dives, crazy rotations. Yeah. But they've made it work, so I can't fault it too much. It's obviously just not been the best in terms of converting it into actual placements or eliminations.
I think that there's one region that just will make those kind of plays, and it's something that I always massively adore about that region, especially that play from Sue, because while he's just running up the stairs, a lot of teams just won't take the opportunity. They won't make that play. But Weibo and that region in general is one of the few regions like America's where it's a case of we need high ground. But it's like a 90 to 10 scenario where I will get eliminated for doing it. I know they will take that risk because they know that if they don't do it, players will throw away the game anyway. So they much rather take those risks early, which I think does put those teams in a much better position. I think it's a type of squad that could get a very, very high elimination game over the course of this group stage. We'll have to wait and see. AX currently very central. We're heading around Gakka at the moment, just south of Pachinki. It's a bit more flat around this area. There is fielded area too. You don't really want to hitting down towards very pier because you're cutting yourself off the sidelines. There's a fair amount of water in this one. We were worried that it was going to go down to Sosnovka. It didn't do that, so a lot of teams can now consider coming back up. Power, I think it's reasonable to head towards Sosnovka. It was one of the few plays they had in the back pocket on the happenstance. We did go down towards that part of the map. They would have had a fantastic position. Now they've got to figure out how to get across.
Yeah, something to potentially keep your right eye on, obviously your left eye's on this side. We can touch on horror a little bit as well. I think, again, it's one of those where they had some unfortunate encounters, like no fear in terms of the timing and the setup he had. It was really good cooking with the nades. You can see, like, he had his understanding down to a T. Mechanics were nice. He was just hit from the side, where it was a really sick off angle for DRX back in game 1. Again, I think that's a team that potentially if they're not sort of showing up too much, maybe you start to underestimate them. They'll find a way to start to climb because there's a ton of talent there. They do just need the opportunity to display it. We've seen a few bits from Squash, but it's interesting. Obviously, we've not really had as much opportunity to keep our eyes on him. I'm curious to see how he's going to build over the course of the event because I feel like, again, man, it's a lot you're thrown into here. You know, like the live environment for him. You're coming in, all the pressure on as you've got the trophy. Your team won it. You've got to live up to that again this time. Showing us the moves at the minute. Vision. It's rough. It was a good start, game one. Here, instantly isolated. You find the scout, take him down. That's the arena that grabbed that. With Joker showing up consistently. He's been the big dog, I'd say, so far for arena.
It looks like he's enjoying himself as well. I think for Vision, there's been a lot of times where, to be quite honest with you, the awareness hasn't been great.
That's fair.
Hasn't been great in terms of where they're playing. I mean, we even saw that from, I believe it was arena again. On the last Aaron goal where they were on a split over towards the top side, they were able to just move in. Isolate. Coming to the PMWC Mobile World Cup. All right, this is not an easy stage. It is not an easy stage to play in.
Quick shout out to the production team, by the way. Loving these transitions. They've been nice. They've been really nice. It's good setup when we do get our circles coming in. Pat on the back. You guys are killing it. Everyone is. It's been a good day so far, and of course, this is the halfway point. It's why it really starts to matter. We get a feel for how things are looking, the lay of the land as we develop into the later portion of today's games with us on the move.
That's Toshpik actually going down there for Regan Kai, who's a bit split off from the rest of the team, and they were making that move out down towards the south side, and he just gets caught on the back of that rotate. They'll still have 3 players to work with there for Regnum Kaya. It's not always the best position in the world, but this is one of those spots where you take it early on the circumstance that we do get this fielded area. This becomes actually one of the stronger positions because it is so open ground around it. It's risky playing in this corner, but he needs to get back across. He's worried about the sideline. Yeah, very, very worried about it. But there is so much area around here. Is that an arrow been sent his way? It might be. Just locking him on the door.
This is kind of naughty. An opportunity to grasp it, like the timing on the face from the angle they've got eyebrows. You should have the shot every time.
Yeah. Attention is somewhat split though. I want to know if that was Suk because there's been a lot of talk about him actually carrying the explosive bow and arrow around a lot, just to lock players down in position. But we'll wait and see. That was pretty terrifying there for Regan Kai, but they can play that spot. They can certainly play that position, and it might pay dividends in the future. We'll wait and see if that investment was worth that time. Bravo 7, though, probably won't be getting away from this position on that southwest side. AX are in front of them. I'll have to bash through there. Currently, Power is struggling on this bridge. The amount of times I've seen Falak on this girder, on top of the bridge, is a lot.
It gives him so much vision as well. Okay. Nearly. Window of opportunity, obviously very slim. You've got to chicane on the push up, trying to keep the helps in the back line. Takes a bit of time before he gets the first shot back over, but the first knock is the most important. Quick reposition, got to try and get himself out of dodge. Takes the damage with the drop and the bullet from the side, so into a knock on the bridge, off the angle. Teammates now with more pressure on them. Split there, obviously incredibly awkward for Power with the distribution squads they've got around them. It's DRX they've got on the other side as well.
I'm just not sure what Power was thinking on this one. If I'm perfectly honest with him, where playing on this edge, it's so tough. Yeah, they're getting eliminations here and there, but slowly but surely they are going down. Again, they could have played in from where Team Secrets on, where the circle was, where it encompassed very P. You know there's going to be teams playing over towards Primrose. There's going to be teams heading over towards Yellows. This is a situation where there's going to be many, many teams looking to lock you out over towards Lighthouse coming across that bridge. It's just an unreasonable decision, in my opinion, where they could have played it slow on the eastern side of the map. And the only other thing I can think of, and I mentioned it earlier, is just that they were hoping, gambling for a Sosnovka finish. They would have been the first there, but I don't know.
Yeah, the odds certainly not in their favour if that was the gambit they were going for this time around. He was unlucky as well with timing. He got the pop off on the hill to keep himself alive, but I don't going down because of it. And then Al Hadji, you are a sitting duck, effectively. That's the real sort of top and bottom of it. He's just trapped the coastline, plays over the additional squad that will take him down from the back. So again, Power Gaming, I think that's free for free on first squad's fall, other than obviously actually easy. Survived as a solo, got those 2 points in the first game, but it's been rough. You're losing at least 3 players in the opening sort of
fourth round, it did really well. Second place at the moment. I was asked recently who my top 3 players were, and in that top 3, I mentioned Balak because he is one of the more exciting off-angle specialists, and you saw him there even on the bridge. That's another thing I love about the player is that when he's in that solo position where he's playing on the back of his teammates trying to set up situations, he's so safe, so cautious with it. He was never going for the full-on spray. He was happy to let his teammates find those knocks, find those eliminations, and he just had to be the enabler, essentially. So he's a very, very cerebral player. And if you're watching Coach Joe, you never heard of him, I keep your eye on him during this entire talk.
20%, man. Really handy with the steal. Harry was taking those fights. This is good vision, trying to get a bit more aggro as well with a dive over towards the hut side. Isolate one player there as they get the info onto him. Quick pick up on the crate as well. He's